Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Homeward Bound 2, Lost in San Francisco. This is the 1996. Sorry, it's a century ago. It's 1996, an hour and a half long, and it is obviously the sequel to Homeward Bound, which is in itself a remake of the original Fantastic Journey, I think. My brain is completely emptied out and thinking about the name of that original movie from back in the 60s, I'm thinking. And we've already watched it. It's somewhere in our history here, but yeah, this is the official sequel to the 1993 film. This is 1996, and it has the same cast as far as I can tell. Michael J. Fox is Chance, the main dog here. Sally Field is Sassy, and Ralph Waite is Shadow, the golden retriever right there, the elder of the three. And the last one, if you remember, they went on a great adventure. They got lost, separated from their family, and traveled throughout the wilderness through impossible odds and rough terrain and so much else in order to get back to their home. And this one is the same exact film, except for they have to go through the city and they meet other dogs, played by Carla Gugino, Sinbad, Stephen Tobolowsky. And even before that, there's a sequence for some reason that they go to Chance, Michael J. Fox. That dog goes to a baseball field where Jamie, his human, is playing baseball, and when you first hear it, you're like, somebody's like a professional announcer is announcing this little t-ball game. Like literally, little kids like 8 are hitting balls, barely. And you hear Al Michaels, then you hear Tommy Lasorda, and you hear Bob Uecker. I don't know why. I mean, I guess they figured, hey, let's throw in some baseball guys, some baseball announcers, and so I mean, they're iconic voices. And I'm just like, it turns out that it's dogs who are calling the plays for other dogs for some reason. Don't know why. There's something in my eye. So yeah, they just threw that in there. I was like, hey, let's have some announcing legends, show up in this movie for no reason. I mean, there's a ton of other people doing voices for other dogs that they meet in the city who they're distrusting of humans, and there's a very good reason, is that this kind of turns into a pseudo Home Alone type thing, technically. My attitude, it felt like Home Alone, because there's 2 guys driving around in a red van just grabbing dogs. Like, the guy goes into a grocery store, an old man goes into a grocery store, ties his little poodle to a fire hydrant, just for a moment. He's in there for literally a minute, and these guys stop and try to grab the poodle because they're going to sell them off to a lab. They're evil. I mean, they're probably worse than Marv and the guys from Home Alone, or that weird red-haired dude in the hotel in Home Alone 2. Or the orange man. Bad. Yeah, these guys they just collect dogs, but they're inept, they're clumsy, in order to make them seem less menacing, one guy immediately rips his pants, and so they become comic relief, as well as doing something just truly horrible, just collecting dogs to sell them for experiments. And that's, I mean, beyond just, trying to fend for themselves, trying to find food, and just survive in the city. Well, what do you get? You also have to defend yourself from these sleazy, awful men. I want to say, Carla Gugino plays Delilah, which becomes a love interest. Yes, it becomes a romance for Chance. So Chance gets a love interest in Carla Gugino as Delilah, somehow always a stray, but she's a white dog who is impeccably groomed and somehow still white, like still clean. Maybe she stood in the rain long enough. Maybe she jumped in a fountain somewhere. I have no idea, but I know enough about dogs that they don't tend to always take good care of themselves. They don't tend to, oh, I must be clean. I have to get clean. Yeah, and she's always been a stray, then why doesn't she look like hell? It's a she's a curly, furry, very pretty dog, but yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, they team up with those dogs. They come butt heads with two other rough. There's an unintentional pun. There's two other rough dogs that are also mean, and they want to attack the cat, eat the cat, and sassy, you know, and they want to do horrible things, but they also are comic relief at the same time as being mean. So yeah, this movie is meant for little kids. It's yeah, I can't judge it too harshly. It's not a great movie at all. It's just, you know, it's the same movie, just slightly different. And it's just Michael J. Fox excitedly making dog puns throughout, just nonstop. And if it wasn't Michael J. Fox, I think I'd be much more harsh on it. I love Michael J. Fox, Back to the Future, all that stuff he's done. And so it endears, the character is endeared to me more because of who's playing him. But yeah, those puns are just relentless, and they're awful, and you see them coming from a mile away. And yeah, and you know how the movie's going to end. They're going to always get back to their family at the end. It's a Disney film. It's a happy ending. It's just the way it's going to be. Now, I'm going to ruin the ending for you in a little bit more detail, because this is what, while I saw it coming, I couldn't believe that they actually did it. They did the same exact ending where, you know, the two dogs and the cat were doing whatever they can to traverse all these hip mountains and everything else in the first film. And the older one, he's Shadow, he's you know, having a hard time, and you think, man, that dog is not going to make it. So the very end, when the dog, Chance and Sassy, rush into the yard to find the sad children who are now they're so excited that the dog and the cat are back, and they're like, well, what about the old dog? And you're like, oh no, he died, oh, and everybody's kind of sad he didn't make it. Everybody keeps looking across the field to the edge of the woods. Is he gonna come? And they make you wait. And then he comes across, and he's like, oh, Shadow made it. Oh, I can't believe Shadow made it. It's just so heartwarming. And this one, they do the same dang thing, but they do it in a much more convoluted way. They've now crossed the Golden Gate Bridge, or as the Golden Bridge, as the dogs call it, because they don't know what the official name of it is. They cross the Golden Gate Bridge. They head back into Marin County, where the family apparently lives, and they cross a back road, one of the many back roads out there, out not in the city anymore. Shadow and Sassy make their way up the hill, and then Chance gets kind of sad. He's like, oh, I kind of miss Delilah, and man, I miss the city, because he was really into the city. He thought that Jamie didn't like him anymore because the whole baseball thing, because he grabbed the baseball during the baseball game, and he was just like, oh, that dog's just he felt that the boy didn't like him anymore, which is, he's just a kid, and so he gets moody about dumb things. It's just the way it is. Anyway, I mean, Chance was ready to just go back to the city so he could be with Delilah. Well, of course, he stands in the middle of the friggin' road. And you're like, oh, there's a dog in the middle of the road. You know how this is going to go. Of course, it's not even, I mean, it makes it even worse is the fact that a tractor-trailer comes barreling towards him, and he hits the brakes, and he tries to wrench the truck. It's a 2-lane road, and that guy probably should have just gone off the road completely, crashed into some trees, fallen downhill, died instantly because of the stupid dog in the middle of the road. That should have been what happened. Instead, he comes to a halt, and what happens is that the family just happens to be in the car right behind the Mack truck for whatever reason. The odds of this little universe being so tight, because they went on vacation, and they were going to take the dogs and cat with them in the storage compartment, underneath, but they escaped. And that's how they became loose and free in the city somehow. Because, geez, San Francisco airport is not close to San Francisco itself. So they did quite a walk north. Then they had to cross the bridge. They were all over the place. That's a long walk. Anyway, I'm all over the place right now, but that's how they got lost in the first place. But so now we have the truck driver going, man, I'm sorry, I don't know what. Well, the dad goes, well, what happened? Why'd you stop so suddenly? He's like, I'm sorry, I saw a dog in the middle of the road. And at this point already, Shadow and Sassy have been reunited with their respective children, friend, humans. And they're like, oh, they're all right. Oh, and Dad puts two and two together. He's like, oh, there's another dog that was in the middle of the road, dumb enough to be in the middle of the road. Wonder who that could be. And then Jamie's like, maybe Chance is out here. Chance. And Dad's like, oh, no, let's not look at this. No, don't, Jamie, don't do that. And Jamie goes looking under the truck. Honestly, would never have happened. And it would have been terrible if it had. I love dogs, so don't get this wrong that I'd be like rooting for this story to have that kind of ending. But it would have been very clear from the moment that Dad looked around the truck that there would have been a big red smear and Chance would be no more. But of course, Jamie looks under the truck and there's Chance with his paws over his head, just alive, untouched, and they reunited. And of course, well, they all head home, everybody's happy, except for Chance, who's depressed still, even though he almost killed a bunch of people, including his own family, who almost ran into the back of the big 18-wheeler. He misses Delilah, and of course, somehow Delilah finds her way because she can smell his butt from across the bridge, and she follows him all the way to Marin County, or wherever they live on the other side of the Golden Gate Bridge. And Dad says, yay, we can keep her because she's a stray. There's no tags, so we're not going to look into this any further. And it's like, we don't check for a chip or anything. Nope, we're going to keep her. And so everybody's happy, especially Chance. And yeah, here you go. I told you the entire film. And yeah, I mean, again, if I had not told you this, you still would have figured out the ending. For the most part, you would have, any scene that would have come along, you would have figured out how it would have worked out. So I'm not really spoiling anything for you, and odds are you grew up with this and maybe you loved it. That's great, especially if you're a little kid. I mean, talking dogs, thank God they didn't animate their mouths, which I hate. I hate it so much, like the Beverly Hills Chihuahua movie we saw the other day. It's frustrating. But I have a strong feeling that this kind of movie is what gave birth to movies like Beverly Hills Chihuahua. So they said, oh, we have the digital animation abilities now. We can make their mouths move. Isn't that better? No, it's not. So that's my opinion. It's, yeah. So, yeah, this is not a great film, but it's, if you love dogs and you love something that you put on in the background while you're running the vacuum and you don't have to listen to it. Yeah, you can watch it. The kids might appreciate just seeing puppies and doggies on the TV for 2 hours or an hour and a half, whatever. So that might be worth it. But yeah, it's not the kind of thing I'm ever going to watch again. Unless at gunpoint, maybe. We'll see. Anyway, let's pick tomorrow's episode.
335.
335, right? 335. Oh, okay. Well, I know there's a series of movies in this, but I don't know if... this says it's a series, and we haven't had a series yet this year, like an official story series as compared to a short series or a documentary series. We've not had an actual scripted series yet this year. So here we go, 335, and this is not even American, but it's been translated into English or American. So we're going to watch the series called Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. We've seen one of the movies already. So we'll see how the series goes. We'll probably watch 1 or 2 episodes at the most, and I'll come back here tomorrow and tell you all about it. See you then. The Miraculous Adventures of Ladybug and Cat Noir. Black Cat on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. See you then.